On today's EMJ PGA podcast, it is the PGA Championship Preview, and me and Ben sit down to discuss all things PGA Championship, the second major of the year. Who do we pick to win? Who are our sleepers and outsiders? What do we think the winning score is going to be? And who do we think is going to be a little bit of an underwhelming letdown this week? Find out in today's podcast. As always, this podcast does contain explicit language, but we hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome back to the EMJ PGA podcast. Thank you so much to all of you for tuning in. For those of you watching, do not worry. You are not witnessing a technical difficulty. I just thought that I would do a little bit of an intro, audio intro into today's podcast, both before and after mine and Ben's PGA preview. Unfortunately, again, very, very busy schedules for us both this week, hence why I'm recording this via audio. I didn't see it fit to necessarily do a video version of this intro, so you are spared the very underwhelming facial aesthetics that I can bring to the podcast for the moment's being. But hopefully you guys enjoy today's podcast. As I always say, thank you very, very much for tuning in. I just wanted to do a little bit of a recap of the weekend's golf just gone, as well as lead up into our conversation about the PGA Championship. And do little bits of admin ticking off here and there as we go. But first of all, apologies for the only one podcast this week. As I just mentioned, obviously, the one thing I always take for granted, and as a golf coach, it's not a problem at all because I love helping people out with their game. But the one thing I always take for granted is just how busy it gets at this time of year and how much free time I have, which is something that I maybe took for granted when we launched the podcast back in January, is that yes, the golf season's in the absolute, we're in the middle of it right now, you know, one major down, coming up to two this weekend. However, you don't realise that everybody else is watching the golf and taking inspiration from the golf, going out and playing golf, and they obviously they need my help on occasion. And past that as well, just on a little bit of a tangent, the people who have been coming in and seeing me regularly, and the group of people that I'm just really, really lucky to be able to work with and help improve their game, they're all doing absolutely amazingly. And if you haven't had a lesson with myself, this isn't an advertisement for a lesson with myself, but the one thing I would say is that we're doing well as a group right now. We're doing really, really well as I can remember in the few years that I've been coaching. I feel like every time I see people and I get an update from people, they seem to be enjoying their golf. They seem to be scoring exceptionally. They seem to be telling me about fantastic experiences they've had on the golf course, and I'm just massively lucky to be able to help you all. So if you are listening to this, just know that I'm always on hand to be able to point you in the right direction when it comes to scoring better out on the golf course, and most of all enjoying the golf, because I think that goes underspoke about or under the radar when it comes to we're so focused on performance, and we sometimes gloss over the important bit, which is to go out and enjoy it. We are going to touch on who we think is going to enjoy it the most at Aronimink this weekend in just a second. We caught Ben for about half an hour in his very busy post-work week, so we will talk about that. But I just want to recap some of the great golf that we saw the week prior, because we don't want to gloss over it. Christopher Raitan picking up the win at the Truist Championship, absolutely fantastic. Some fantastic clutch putts down the stretch, in particular the 16th. Downhill, left to right, out the bunker, just unbelievable. And great performances from Nikolai Højgaard and Ricky Fowler Ricky Fowler, as well as Alex Fitzpatrick, who led after 54 holes. Just a fantastic showing from him. 2 double bogeys set him back from potentially a winning score of 16 under par, because if you take those double bogeys out and just turn them into pars, he, again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he would have been one better than Raitan at the Truist. So fantastic to see him doing well. He could potentially be a Ryder Cup player this time next year, or in whatever it is. What are we talking now? 15 months or so? 16 months away, Alex Fitzpatrick. I definitely would put a sneaky few pounds on him to potentially make the team. I think he would be perfect and fit into that dynamic fantastically. So congratulations to him. Harry Hall tied 8th. I just want to mention him. The most outrageous video and social media video I've ever seen from a PGA Tour player. He's English. I mean, we've got some English characters on the PGA Tour. We've got Dan Brown, we've got Harry Hall. We are flying the flag for us English people, and I think those sorts of characters the Americans absolutely love. So, Harry Hall turning into a fan's favourite and actually trending in the right direction. If you guys remember back to episode 1, he was one of my ones to watch for 2026. I meant on the golf course, not on his social media accounts, but that could definitely go both ways. So, congratulations to him. And we wanted to point out that Heater of the Week, if it was just about the PGA Tour, would have been going to Cam Young, because he shot a fantastic third round, I think it was. Second round, it may have been. I don't have it up on my screen right in front of me here, but he went incredibly low. However, we want to give the Heater of the Week out where it needs to be given out. We need to give it out where it is required, and that's what we're going to do. That is what we are going to do, because Urav Premlall, and I want to make sure I get his pronunciation absolutely bob on, because as you'll hear in today's podcast, Ben decides to just absolutely kill a couple of players' pronunciations. Urav Premlall was one shot shy of Tiger Woods' tournament-winning margin record at the 2000 US Open at Pebble Beach, because he picked up the Estrella Damm Catalunya Championship, and he did so winning by 14 shots, which incidentally is double the amount under par that second place Sean Norris finished on over in Barcelona. Unbelievable. 2 9 under par rounds to finish his week, starting off with a 2 under par and then deciding to go 8 under par, 9 under par, 9 under par. Absolutely unbelievable. Urav Premlall, you have my respect, and you are by far and away the Heater of the Week for this week. Pointed out by a couple of listeners, actually. They sent it in saying this has to be Heater of the Week, and you are absolutely right. This cannot be overlooked. What an unbelievable achievement for Urav Premlall, and I just love this about golf. I would have loved to have heard the amount of people that had heard of Urav Premlall coming into last week's Estrella Damm Catalunya Championship. Well, now you know, because to do that and just get on that level of heater takes some level of doing. So congratulations to him for that. There is my very, very quick review of the weekend's golf, and just a quick pointer out to some of the players who played some good stuff. If we really care and we want to do a full review, there was the Myrtle Beach Classic where Brandt Snedeker picked up the win. He was quite emotional afterwards. I think his mum had passed away in the last sort of period of time where he hasn't managed to get a win. I think it's been 2018, so call it 8 years now since Brandt Snedeker had a win on the PGA Tour, and he was getting close. If you remember, he was close in Florida a few weeks back. And he just couldn't quite get it over the line. He made a couple of errors down the stretch, leading to Fitzpatrick picking up his first win of the year. So Brandt Snedeker got it done. Brooks Koepka had one good round. There was a couple of other solid finishes in there that would be recognisable to you guys. That was the Myrtle Beach Classic. for those of you guys who were keeping tabs on that. But for the time being, we're going to be keeping tabs on the PGA Championship, and that is where we are going to transition on to mine and Ben's discussion, all things PGA Championship, runners, riders, and obviously our picks as well. So I'm going to transfer on to me and Ben talking the PGA Championship, the second major of the year. Hope you guys enjoy, and feel free to let us know in the comments about how right or usually how wrong we are with our selections. Okay then, everybody, it is PGA Championship week, and we could not go a podcast week without getting on the main co-host in another busy week for us. We've managed to find a little pocket, a little window for us to chat golf for you guys and to preview the second major of the year, which is, of course, the PGA Championship this year at Aronimink. And yeah, as I said, we couldn't do this without the main co-host, Ben Hartshorn, who is typing away, researching away as we speak. And he is looking for potentially picks on the fly to make for later on in the podcast. I'll keep speaking whilst he keeps typing for just a second, then we'll bring him in. Okay. But we are bringing him in. We are filming this on Monday night, and Ben's beloved relegation-stricken Spurs are about to kick off in precisely 23 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you as much of a preview or as much of an in-depth look into the PGA Championship in those 23 minutes as we can before Ben hopefully gets his Spurs out of relegation battle, of which, well, I'll keep speaking. Those of you football fans out there, yesterday, foul, no foul on the goalkeeper. I mean, God, I've gone back and forth all kind of day about it, and this is probably where I'll bring in Ben in amongst his research. As the Spurs fan, the very poignantly positioned Spurs fan, foul or no foul yesterday, Benny, for me?
I think it works both ways. I think if it's happened to your team, you're absolutely screaming for a foul. But there's about 15 fouls in that box as the ball sort of heads into the area. But no, I think it is not a foul. I'd be absolutely seething if I was West Ham. Obviously, I was calling desperate for it to be a foul as a Spurs fan. But 100% of that's going against me. I don't think it's a foul at all. There's five players in that melee, so no. I think it's a poor decision, but I can see why they've given it. To be fair,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It is the most 50-50 of
mm.
decisions, and yeah, without going down that rabbit hole, in a year of where Hulk Hogan could probably look at home in the box from corners this year, with all that wrestling going on, they decide to give that one. And I was very, very well. No, I wasn't surprised, but then in hindsight, I was surprised because that's been going on all season, like everybody's been saying. Go on.
Arsenal losing their heads when they have literally bullied every team in the box and done all sorts. I mean, whether his freaking random name West Ham player's arm, like there's no way that arm flopping onto Raya's shoulder affects Raya again to the ball. That's all I would say. And like the guy's arms up here, like hanging over, and there's no way Raya can't. It stopped Raya getting the ball. That's all I would say.
Yeah, looks like he gets under it for me. And then the context matters. I've watched it about 46 times trying to see like that blue and black dress, or is it the white and gold dress thing? I've watched it all day trying to come to a conclusion. And the little bits of context matter for me. Like the ball goes in, and not one Arsenal player is claiming for a foul except for Raya, and he's doing it kind of half-heartedly. Arteta shits himself as soon as it goes in because he realizes that it looks a bit soft. In real time, I didn't even think it was a foul one bit, and then they go back and give it. But there we go. That's how potentially the Premier League and the relegation battle has been decided. We've still got the PGA Championship to be decided come the end of the weekend. Ben, are you up for this PGA Championship? We've got quite a few bits to talk about in this nice little window.
When I realised it was a PGA Championship this morning, yeah, I was up for it. And yeah, it's come around real quick. There's a good tournament the weekend, but it's been pretty shite for all golf fans the last 2 or 3 weeks. So we're back into a major. Yes, the shittest major, but it's still a major, and all the big boys go at it, and that's what we're there for. We don't want some beta shitters going at it. We want we want the big boys to get up for it. So, and that's what we're going to get this week at Aronimink.
Yes. And if you guys want to hear Ben pronounce Aronimink for the next 20 minutes, stay tuned. Don't turn off the video. Don't click onto something else in your cars or on YouTube, because we had Hao Tong Lee, who you called Han Tong Lee, for about 4 days in a row. Just absolutely killing him and his heritage. And now the guys at Aronimink in Pennsylvania will get a nice nice little tune of their place, which they've probably never heard before. Speaking of Aronimink, okay, this week we are at the par 70 layout, which we've just described. It's going to measure out to just under 7,400 yards this week. So, like any other major championship, we're not going to get a short golf course. We're going to get a long, drawn out golf course. Bunkers are a real speciality here, which I think is going to be interesting to watch on TV. You're going to see really big pitfalls if you do fall into some fairway bunkers off the tee specifically, and some cool looking holes. I mean, it doesn't look like the most standout venue in the world. Some history of Aronimink. This is the first PGA Championship that's been here since 1962, where Gary Player picked up the victory. I was doing a bit of homework, and Gary Player was talking about his win at Aronimink. Speaking about his putting stroke, he literally just saw someone else. I mean, this was golf back in the day. He saw someone else, I can't remember who it was, on the putting green that week, and he was the best putter on tour at the time, and he noticed that he wasn't really following through after his stroke. And I feel like that's something that, again, the coaches aspect coming back into it, more so with the pace putts, but definitely you want to feel like you're kind of punching the ball into the hole as opposed to really kind of hockey pushing the ball in the hole. And I think that goes back to what Gary Player was talking about there. So he saw that player sort of almost literally coming to an abrupt halt after impact on the putting green, went on to have one of his best putting performances of his career by his estimations, to pick up the win in 1962. We haven't been to Aronimink since 2018 for the BMW Championship, where Keegan Bradley picked up the victory there in the FedEx Cup playoff run, which is really interesting. And it got me thinking about other golf courses with cool names, because when it popped up on the calendar, it would have been a couple of years ago, but more so it came to our attention probably at the start of this podcast, where we looked through the major venues and we looked through where we were heading, and we saw Aronimink. It got me thinking about other golf courses with cool names, and there aren't very memorable ones that have like a unique name like Aronimink, because it's just a cool sounding place. But when you come to other golf courses with cool names, you've obviously got your Wolf Creeks, you've got Spyglass Hill, Cypress Point. Those are probably, again, a couple of those very close together, but those are a couple of ones to name a few. So Ben, Aronimink this weekend, and you keen for it, and you looking forward to seeing what the golf course has to offer?
Yeah, I think since doing this podcast and us getting into golf properly together, I think the courses have fascinated me. The layout of them, what they look like. I think it's always a visual thing with a golf course. I had a look today. It looks all right. We'll see what it's like. It reminds me of maybe Oak Hill a few years ago, where obviously my boy Brooks won. The PGA do like doing maybe more standard. They like going down the American venue route. But you know what? It's a cool name. It's in, obviously, Philadelphia. There's some other good courses around there. I was reading about it. I think it's Pine Valley in Philadelphia, I believe. But anyway, irrelevant. Interesting. Looking forward to it. Shame the last winner at Aronimink was Keegan Bradley. I was having a look at that. He beat Justin Rose in a playoff. Can Justin Rose ever win a playoff? I'm not sure. And yeah, excited to see what the golf course is like. A new golf course, a new look. And yeah, it's going to be freaking good. So yeah, we're well up for it.
Looking forward to it. I'm aware of time, so we want to speed through some contenders. We're going to do a little bit of a pit stop tour. No, we're going to do a bit of a pit stop tour for you guys regarding some of the big hitters. We've got 6 here outlined for you, and then off the back of them, I'll give my quick thoughts, Ben will give his quick thoughts, and it might give you an indication as to where we're leaning when it comes to prediction time in a few minutes' time. We're obviously going to lead off with the world number one, Scottie Scheffler, who's been in a fantastic vein of form without getting many wins to his name, which is a bit ominous. The defending champion from last year at the previously visited Quail Hollow from last weekend. He's coming off the back of 3 second-place finishes in a row, Benjamin. Scottie Scheffler, is the storm brewing for him to pick up his second win of the year and to go back-to-back when it comes to PGA Championships?
I don't think he will, and you'll see that in my picks. I don't know if he's going to hit the heights of what another player might hit in the low numbers, sort of over 4 days. No doubt he won't go low at the weekend, and it just does feel like a bit of a Scottie Scheffler course. Maybe I'm contradicting myself, but obviously we wouldn't be surprised if Scottie Scheffler won. But I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I don't think he's quite hard enough this year.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm not going to give away my pick later, but for obvious reasons, I think that if he wasn't to win, he's not going to be that far off. And that's not telling you something that you don't know. Coming on to the next person, and second favourite, the only person to have a major victory next to their name for this year, it is, of course, Rory McIlroy, 2-time winner of this tournament. All right, so definitely one thing for you to watch out for. Coming off the back of his Masters win, as I said, bit of a spotty form, or patchy form when it comes to PGA Tour this year. However, I ask you, Benjamin, now for Rory McIlroy, it makes me laugh because obviously he does crucify Liv and he takes the piss out of everyone over there, which, fair enough. Like, I think he's well within his rights to do so, and we'll talk about that maybe a bit later on, the Liv guys. However, he strikes me as the most Liv, especially off the back of this year, the way that the Liv guys tackle the majors. We don't care about them, we don't care about them, we don't care about them until it's major week and we go, oh, they've got a massive chance here. And my point with that is Rory McIlroy's been taking weeks off on signature events, which, to my knowledge, you weren't really allowed to do. That was the whole point of the signature events. It was to kind of copy the Liv schedule, which was you have to play in these events. I don't care where you are in the world, you have to play in them. He's been skipping them left, right, and centre. Don't get me wrong. He played last week at Quail Hollow, a track that he gets on well at. But to me, my question for you is he major oriented? Because we came into the Masters saying the exact same thing, and I fell for it. His form wasn't good. It didn't look like he was playing that well. But has he been nailing Aronimink for every single week for the past 6 weeks without us knowing, and he's going to come out and blow the field away, do you think?
Well, I saw one of the interviews, I presume it was real, saying that he had been living at Aronimink for a week and he's been playing it a lot. So I think he has been on great form, and I don't even think at the Masters that he was like at his absolute best. Obviously, he was unbelievable heading obviously Friday night, and then had a terrible Saturday, and then was all right on the final day. No one really had a go at the Masters, so I don't think his form was like that much out of sorts heading to the Masters. I just think he was very solid, and he just had the belief in himself. I think he'd have to play better this week. I think he'd have to make a load more birdies. He can't make the mistakes that he made at Augusta, because guys are going to go fucking low. Again, we'll do a score prediction, but it must be deep this week. So, but you know what? If he's been playing it that hard, and the belief he must have in himself, like, I think he's got another good chance. And if he when to win another major, oh my god, he's on some sort of run, and he is, he's making his way up the sort of all-time leaderboards very, very, very quickly.
I just think that his mindset now is so focused on getting major wins and picking up major championships. We're not going to look back and herald him the greatest ever for picking up 700 truest championships at Quail Hollow. He knows that he's going to have to get this tally up and running, and I'm not going to fall for it this time, albeit I'm not going to give away who I'm going to pick, but I definitely predict that the top 2 players in the world are going to have a good run at it. I can't see a world where they're not on that first little page of the leaderboard in the bottom left of your screen come Sunday night. I think they'll both be there, and if both of them are there, you'd find it hard for them not to get it done. But I think they'll both have really solid weeks. Coming on to the next player that we're talking about, the world number 3, Cameron Young. We talk about heaters, 2026 heaters. This guy has had a good few of them. He's picking up Heater of the Week. He's doing everything right. Looking for his third win of the year. He's coming off the back of 4 top 20s in his last 5 starts. The guy can't really have a bad week, especially when the pressure's on. It seems like he always ups his game. Cam Young, thoughts going into this week without giving away your pick if it is him?
Cam Young, yeah, I like Cam Young a lot. I was looking at his scorecards from the Troyes last week. He went 63 -8 on Saturday. He went fucking hard, and then he decided to be shit on Sunday, which he was at the Masters. So a little bit worrying, but his first 3 days were unbelievable. He is on the heater of the year so far. Maybe him and Fitzpatrick. So yeah, his major must come soon, and I just think this screams of a Cam Young win, and I hope he does because I do like Cam Young as from the American crowd.
Yeah, Cam Young quickly becoming one of my favorite American players. He's breezy with it. He's wearing the Peter, the Peter Millar. He rolls the rock fantastically. He swings it unbelievable. He's got no buttons up on his shirt. It's such a low cut shirt. You can see the chest hair. Breezy. He doesn't give a fuck, and he's breezy with it. So Cam Young is definitely going to be in with a chance. Matt Fitzpatrick coming into it, he was your pick for the first major of the year. He is obviously he had a bit of a week off last week, even though I think he finished like 52nd or something at Truist. You could make the argument that he's the second best player in his family right now because Alex, his brother, is absolutely on a heater beyond comprehension. He obviously won. What's it called again? The thing at New Orleans.
The
Zurich.
Zurich Invitational, isn't it? Or Zurich Orleans
Zurich.
Invitational.
Yeah. So he picked up the Zurich with his brother Alex, but he's probably going to be in contention when it comes to everyone's picks, so to speak. Matt Fitzpatrick, thoughts going into this week?
I think Matt Fitzpatrick would be delighted that he was on the cooler this week. I think he'll be looking to get back on the heater. You can't be on the heater every single week. That's not the sort of that's not what the heater's about. It's about sort of coming in hot every now and then and if you can get on the heat in the big moments, you're going to win tournaments. And I think him on the cooler this week is perfect for him. I think he'll think his way around the course. Does he overthink it sometimes? Probably, but he's had 3 wins on tour. He had 3 and then 4 with Alex.
No.
He's had 3.
Been three if you count the one with Alex.
Yeah, 3. I mean, that's still fucking good. Incredible. And he deserves another major. He's too good for it. I don't think he will win, but because I can't not see an American win at the PGA Championships, but maybe that's just me.
Interesting. Yeah, and I might or might not be seconding that when it comes to our predictions in just a moment. We're going to cover some of the guys that I'm sure you want to hear us talk about. Obviously, we want to go through as many big names as we can. That's going to maybe mean leaving out a couple of names that are in form. But we're here for the heavy hitters. We're here for the big names, and that's why we're going to talk about Bryson DeChambeau. A lot of drama off the course since his Masters sort of debacle. He's been in a bit of a meltdown for the last few weeks, except for last week in Virginia. And I actually think the Live guys, and this is going to factor in my predictions, I actually think the Live guys have got so much more of a better chance for this one. If you think about the Live golf calendar before the Masters, they were over in Saudi, they were over in the Middle East, then they went over to South Africa, I think the last event was. Then they had to jet over to Georgia to obviously play the Masters. It was the first event they'd really playing on American soil. The conditions are probably so different. They'd probably play in that South Africa tournament at the top of Tabletop Mountain in Johannesburg, and the altitude would have been crazy. So the amount of conditions and different setups that they would have been seeing, it would have probably been a factor in a lot of their poor performances. However, they've just been at Virginia, which is literally across the border from Pennsylvania. So they will be just hopping over. It could be a drive over to Aronimink this week. So and he's fresh off a 3rd place finish at Live Golf Virginia. So Bryson DeChambeau, do you think he puts it together this week and makes a charge?
DeChambeau's come 2nd the last 2 years, or he come 3rd last year, 2nd year before. He does think of a PGA Championship winner. He's also been the headlines massively. It would be a DeChambeau thing to come and win this week. After single-handedly, I think he's taking Live Golf under because obviously his contract's run out, and he was probably out, and he was asking for an obscene amount of money, and yeah, the Saudis have pulled the plug on it. But yeah, I think a good chance. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Stan should have a good chance, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets on a heater. I don't know if he's playing that well enough to go that low, though. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out indeed. And then the last person, the big name from Live Golf is, of course, Jon Rahm. Very interesting comments. And when we next get on the podcast together, I think we'll revisit some of these news points because there's been comments from DeChambeau, there's been comments from Rahm. Live Golf is full of comments right now. It's an absolute meltdown over there. It's Titanic. It's going under, and people are saying all sorts of mad shit. But Jon Rahm, my little note, has to show up at least one major this year. Okay, we've only had one, but it was four at the Masters. And his Live Golf form, if you care about it, hasn't been bad at all. He's had 2 wins and he's had 2 seconds on Live so far this year. I think they've played 6 or 7 times. So, you know, he's obviously got a good return when it comes to his form over there on tour. Jon Rahm, do you factor him in this week?
Again, Jon Rahm, he disappointed me at the Masters because, again, we were thinking one of Rahm and DeChambeau will win this week, and we were quite in a lot of belief with that. But if he's playing that well on Live, surely he gets himself going somewhere. Can I see it this week? No, I know. You know what? I do like him for an Open. I don't see him winning a PGA. But obviously, you can't write out Jon Rahm, 2-time major champion. And again, if he goes and wins this week, he'll be on for a Grand Slam. So I think he will be up for this week. Absolutely.
Yeah, great point. Great point. He's 1 win away from touching the pinnacle when it comes to golf. Fantastic. Fantastic. So we just run through some big names there, and we're just going to whittle it straight on to some of our predictions. So what me and Ben are going to do now for you, and I'm going to just quickly touch on a couple of honourable mentions, as I do mine as well, because there was a few that nearly made my list. But as always, I like to cover my back with a few honourable mentions. But yeah, we're going to predict our outsider. So that's someone outside 50 to 1 in most of the betting markets that you can find. We're going to pick a sleeper, which counts as someone who definitely has got a very, very good chance of getting the win this week, but is someone that's going very under the radar in doing so. And then we're, of course, going to pick our winner as well as the winning score to top it off. Okay. I'm actually going to go first. I'm going to go first really quickly with my outsider. We'll do both our outsiders, both our sleepers, and then both our winners, okay, and go from there. My outsider this week is Nicolai Højgaard. If you've been following the PGA Tour closely, you'll have seen Nicolai Højgaard on the top and on the first page of the leaderboard a lot of times. He can do this a bit with his form. He can go up and down. He follows a good week with usually not the best week, and he's coming off the back of a good week. So I'm picking him with caution. However, I do think there's a lot of upside. And as my outsider, I think he can have a really, really good go at it. He's played in the Ryder Cup. He's played in all the biggest events in the world. I don't think he'd be fazed by the pressure. And I think Aronimink, long golf course. He's a long, big hitter. I think he's in a really, really good position, coming off a second place finish at Quail Hollow. So there's my outsider, Ben. Who's yours for this week?
I like that. Højgaard, they always do get involved with Højgaard, and they do twat it. Honorable mentions just because I've just seen his name again. Like, obviously, my boys Shudashran Yelemanrajuru. Sorry, Shudashan. Actually, on a heat a few weeks ago, if you don't remember. Next coming, hell of a player. It's above him is Thigala, which are, again, a similar player back in the day. These are guys who might get on the heat. But you know what? I'm going to go outside. I've just seen his name, and I've had a few. I was thinking of Woodland just because he's actually been on some heaters. Everyone feels good for him. Like, why wouldn't Gary Woodland just go and play well again? He had a good season. But you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to go randomly. He's had a tough time in his home life this year. And even though I said I think America will win it, I think this guy, because I think he's going to twat it round. He's had issues with his newborn child, which I think are all right now. He's playing this week. I'm going to go outside of Marco Penge. A hell of a hitter, a good-looking guy, and I think we're going to back that. I think he can go low, and I think he deserves to be on the PGA Tour. Again, Yellow Mirage, you keep an eye out for him as well, though. But Marco Penge is my pick.
Good point. Very good point. Very good point. And I like that pick. And apologies to Shuraban Yelamaraju. We got there in the end, and hopefully you have a good week. Okay, coming on to my sleeper pick for this week. We touched on the Live players just a moment ago, and it's a bit of a cop-out when it comes to Live guys, but when you look at this guy's major record, how many times do we turn around and get to Sunday and think, fuck me, he's going to win it, he's going to win it, he's going to win it. And then he doesn't quite get over the line. And if you look at this guy's form, yeah, what are you moaning at, lad?
I can't believe you're going to pick him. That's awful.
It's me, but I'm just covering my back in case he does. Now, he's not my favourite player in the world, this guy. Far from it. But I'm sick of ignoring him and him coming on to having a really good week. Now, you know what these types of players do? I pick them and then they miss the cut straight up. But Tyrrell Hatton, just keep a watch out for him, okay? He can do it on any venue, on any setup. US Open, tough track, long track. He's not the tallest guy in the world. He's not the biggest hitter in the world. He'll have a good week. Augusta, tricky, short game focused, and you need to move the ball a bit from right to left. He likes to move the ball a bit from left to right. Okay, that's not the template, so to speak, but you think, oh, is Tyrrell Hatton really going to set up well for that? He always has a good week at the Masters. As soon as he plays on DP World Tour, he has good weeks, and his live golf record I actually think is poor, which makes me even more confident that I think he'll have a good run at it. This guy is only focused on the major championships, and I think Tyrrell Hatton will give it a really good run this week. No one's talking about him, so he's the perfect sleeper for me. Ben, what about you?
He's a good sleeper. Like Tyrrell Hatton, yeah, you forget about him, then he suddenly just creeps up and puts himself with the chance. A bit like Bob Eye McIntyre Eye, as I call him. So my sleeper, which absolutely is not a sleeper to most people, but he's a sleeper to he's just a sleeper. And obviously, he's the king of the PGA Championship. Is Brooks Koepka, and there's no way Brooks. He's been waiting for this week. And again, if you kept up, he played in some beta PGA Tour event last weekend and got on the absolute heater, and then quoted that he fell back in love with the game. So I think Brooks is back. My T-shirt's ready to come out when he does win. This is the most Brooks Koepka PGA Tour winning venue I've ever seen. He won at Oak Hill, he won at Belle Reeve, and he won at freaking Red Page Black. So I think he's got a great chance this week. I'd love to see him. He's going to knock all that ball around. He loves a US sort of venue. He doesn't like keeping it low around the links. Augusta's a little bit too techie for him because, again, if you've got to hit the ball right to left. But you can't sleep on Brooks Koepka at the PGA. This is what he's built for. Again, he'd love to win a Masters or an Open to get towards that Grand Slam, which I actually think he will do. But yeah, Brooks Koepka this week, I think, has got a great chance. He is a sleeper, and he's going to sleep his way up the board and get on the heat on the weekend.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I was just going to mention Brooks because he didn't feature in my shortlist, and I make the shortlist. So I knew if Ben had made the shortlist, we would have been touching on him as a featured player. And if he didn't feature in your predictions, I would have definitely been asking you about him. Sorry. Yeah. But we didn't need to because Ben picked him as his sleeper. Of course he has. The least shocking pick of the podcast so far. Let's see how Brooks gets on this week. Winner this week, I will go first because I think Ben's predictions have been way better than mine so far this year. However, I am 1-0 up when it comes to winning predictions, and I'm going to try and add to my lead with this player. PGA, I want to sell the PGA to you guys, but I'm not getting commission off them, so I'm going to just tell the honest truth. I think we're always going to tell the honest truth on this podcast. The PGA, how many PGAs have I thought, wow, I've got to the end of the week and I really enjoyed that PGA Championship. Probably 1, 2. In my, I can't think now. I've probably 16 years, 15 years, definitely minimum of actually giving a toss about it of my life. And there's probably been 2 that I look back on and think, oh my God, that was unbelievable. So with that in mind and in tune with my sleeper pick, my winner is a player who's boring, in form. I don't like him that much, but I'm preparing for him to win for no reason whatsoever. And that's why this week, off the back of 4 top 20s in a row, including 3 top 10s, his worst finish in his last 5 starts has been 12th. Again, you haven't realised it, but he's going to have a chance this week, in my opinion. I think Patrick Cantlay breaks his major duck this week. I'm going for boring Americans in the last few weeks. And lad, don't come crying to me when he's got a chance, all right? Patrick Cantlay breaks his major drought, shall we say? And I think he wins this week. So Ben, what have you got?
Wow, I mean, I can't believe you've gone down that route. And again, Cantley's got a bit of a stigma around him. Like he's a good player. There's a reason he has won a major before. So and I think that will be proven correct. And again, we don't want to be watching on Sunday with him in the final group because it'll be a 6 or 7 hour round likely. And if you get him in there with Brooks, that's what's going to piss me off when he stops Brooks winning the PGA because he gets drawn with him. Brooks will be fucking fuming playing with Cantley. So anyway, so my
Playing in
player.
front of Brooks.
Cantlay in front of Brooks would be the worst thing humanly possible. Brooks will be hitting up on him, and I promise you he will. Like he'll be nuking it down there when Cantlay's doing his fucking 18th
Brooks,
practice
you're gonna have
swing.
to ask him to start stroking guys.
Start what?
That's Brooks. That's Brooks' like famous thing is we've got to start stroking guys for being too slow.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That might come into play this week if he gets his way, Brooks, because it is unbelievable, and that's what I respect to McIlroy. Like he plays pretty quick. I think Scheffler's pretty quick as well, but Cantlay is on a different level. Anyway, so again, I just want to go through a couple of honourable mentions. I mentioned him a minute ago. Justin Rose came second in the BMW in 2018. Lost on a playoff. He has been playing terribly since his new irons. He was going to be my flop of the week last time, but I don't think we did flop of the week because he was just hacking it round with his new irons, with like the McLaren irons or something. But I don't think he will do it. Again, obviously the big two are in form. Schauffele's obviously there because he won it in 2024. DeChambeau's there, but I'm going to go with. We spoke about him earlier. I'm not going to overthink it as I don't tend to do. But Cameron Young is going to be my pick. I think throw a lot of money on him. Fleetwood's had a good week as well, but throw a lot of money in Cameron Young. He's cold as fuck, and I think he'll be there or thereabouts. He has to be. He's way too good. So yeah, that's my main pick.
Very, very good. What's your winning score?
Minus 18.
Minus 18. I've got a bit lower than that. I just think it's a long golf course. And the one thing, because I went low when it came to the Masters, I thought Bryson was going to obviously bully everyone. How wrong I was. And I think the one thing that we got to factor in when it comes to major championships is they all get on the heater early doors, don't they? On Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, they don't really think much about it. And then all of a sudden they start to think, shit, it's a major. We've got to lock in. We can't be throwing shots away. We can't be attacking pins. And then all of a sudden you start seeing those 2 unders, 3 under, 4 under par rounds from the leading pack, and everybody gets nice and bunched together. I can't see it being a week where everybody races out. These majors usually are pretty close together, and I think it reflects the world of golf at the moment. I think Scheffler, fingers crossed for all of us watching, it is not in the mode of form where he's just going to bully everybody by 5 or 6 strokes. I think everybody's going to be nice and packed together, and that's going to lead to a 14 under par week. Just circling it back around to Justin Rose, I said I was going to make some honourable mentions. He would have absolutely been my honourable mention when it comes to a sleeper. Justin Rose finished runner-up in the 2018 BMW Championship, and albeit that it hasn't been the only time that the PGA Tour have been back to Aronimink, but he's also a past winner at Aronimink. He won there in 2010 on the PGA Tour. So he's got a really good track record around the golf course. Okay, usually when players have been on the tour for 20 years, they're going to have good finishes round a venue. But I find it interesting how they never go to Aronimink, and he's someone who's actually had success round Aronimink, and nobody else really has that we've been able to see on the field. Like you say, like you say, McLaren irons at the moment. You don't know whether he's adapting to those and getting used to those a little bit. Or if he's going to come out again on a heater. Another last little honourable mention, Ricky Fowler's playing unbelievable golf. I think he's got 3 top 10s in a row. And he had a really, really good chance at it last weekend. Is he going to follow it up with another good week? Who knows? So just one to keep your eye out on is Ricky Fowler, Slick Rick, as they call him. They call him other things as well, but Slick Rick might have a chance. Ben, Spurs are 9 minutes into their game, so we are going to let you go. Fantastic PGA Tour preview. We've got a really solid good few minutes in there. I hope you guys enjoyed that preview, and we will catch you, Benjamin, next week to review the PGA and listen to your thoughts on it. Hopefully Michael Block makes the cut, and we'll remind you of that. All right, Benjamin. But we'll let you go. Any finishing thoughts on the PGA?
No, enjoy it, everyone. Hopefully it'll be a better week. We have a bit more excitement at PJ because you're right, it is boring and normally ends quite boring as well. So let's hope it gets sort of cooking this weekend.
Absolutely. Right. Well, see if Spurs go and get a result, and we will catch you next week to talk about the PGA. Thank you very much, Benjamin.
Okay, goodbye.
Christ alive. I left that in for those of you watching, but Jesus, Ben was in a clearly a rush. For those of you football fans out there, he was in a rush to see that 1-1 draw, Spurs and Leeds. Could have gone either way. So I hope he enjoyed it. And we will find out in due course whether he enjoyed it. And we will also find out in due course whether he enjoyed the PGA Championship. Are you guys going to enjoy the PGA Championship? There are our picks. I'm going with Patrick Cantlay. Ben's going with Cameron Young. I feel like if you're not going with an American this weekend, you're a very brave soul indeed. It always seems to fall back in American hands, the Wanamaker Trophy, and we will see if the same happens again this weekend. Thank you very, very much to all of you who are listening and watching. We do appreciate all of you, the loyal listeners, the people who interact with us. If you leave a comment on our stuff, if you message me privately, if you email me, if you tag us in anything, you are part of the gang. What's a better word for it? The club. You're part of the club, which is probably the correct word for it. You're part of the club. It's not necessarily members only. We accept visitors, but we show love to our members where we can, and we massively appreciate you all. So thank you so much for supporting us. I'm going to stop blabbering on. We are going to leave it there, and we will be absolutely back to 2 episodes a week next week with a review of the PGA and or a special episode at the end of the week, either a guest or a special featured episode where me and Ben talk more rubbish and more specific things about the golfing world, which maybe you have or haven't thought about. So hopefully you'll look forward to that. All right then, guys, we will catch you for next week's review of the PGA Championship. Come on, Cantlay. Those are words that I have never said in my life. We'll catch you next week.